position strategy that MVP has, but do MVP have anything more in their bag of tricks?
And how do you cheese a cheeser? What is the end of the cheese scale? Is it Gouda? Is it Camembert? Is it Brie? Who's to say? MVP is going to have some idea about it in this game, guys. We are actually 9 hours after we went live at 1:45 Korean Standard Time in the afternoon. It is now 10:45 Korean Standard Time. The 9th game, The Dream, is happening 9 hours later. And Afreeca Freecs, let's see how much they index into banning away Karthus and the other stuff that worked in game number 1. Because MVP aren't necessarily in a blood pack to go completely insane. They might go that way, but they don't have to.
Yeah, and the Alistair actually going to be banned away here by MVP as well, so targeting Tucson with both of these bans. So far, it was Rakan, Zoe, and Orianna in game number 1 when they were back onto that blue side. Afreeca banning a Talia at this particular slot, the second ban on the red side. And Karthus is going to take that spot this time around. Could be that Talia might find her way through the draft, as MVP will show us whether they have a different first pick in mind if Talia is going to be the ban here. Talon going to be taken off the board.
I think Talia will be taken just because of Talia's power. If it's left open, Afreeca Freecs would do well to ban it away. I don't think the Nocturne fits the wheelhouse unless they're going standard by the side of MVP. And honestly, Yondu's had some pretty meager performances on that pick. So Afreeca do double ban cheese. So they're saying, okay, you guys are definitely going to cheese. I think it's time for a first pick Talia if I'm MVP. But the Swain is also open, and that's one they'll consider.
Well, Talia sort of standing out like a bit of a sore thumb here. As you can see the eyebrows raised on Yondu, being pretty vocal. But 5 seconds to go, they're going to switch over to the Shen. Okay.
It's a lot to give up on the side of Afreeca. MVP say we'll do Nocturne Shen. How about you guys play Talia something?
Talia Swain.
Yeah, I know. That's
a pretty power drop.
Look, you don't need to.
Side.
Absolutely. You're 100% right there. Afreeca Freecs starting with a LeBlanc hover. Be one way to try to stop shenanigans from being enacted, but seems unlikely as the first pick. Seems like the free Swain Talia here. Or will it be Shen and Talia? It does feel like those champions are being traded. Max for now, sitting on the smite. Seems like Afreeca Freecs drafting some bruisers seems to be their way forward. Will they overlook? Yes, they want to know more information before they commit to a Talia or anything else.
Well, Swain GP does seem like a lot of power for the Afreeca Freecs. GP can be an Achilles heel of this team, though. Certainly didn't work for them against BBQ.
Nothing against Keen, of course, had a wonderful performance.
Yes.
We'll be able to use the Global. I think Global's help against what is likely to be a Chaos-style draft from MVP.
Well,
Chaos-style used to be the Udyr Unicorns of Love days in 2015. I've now co-opted it for triple smite shenanigans.
Yeah, I think that there's this 8.x has really opened the floor to some pretty crazy picks. That's a Garen.
We haven't had one in Korea, I believe, ever. Would they just do it for the sake of doing it?
Is Max going to do it before Faker does it, is the question. Because we wanted Faker to do it. Oh, Max almost did it.
Oh,
Kuro's
we were so close to a Garen.
I've casted it in the LPL. It was great.
Amazing J, baby.
Oh, it was Amazing J, of course. He got a double kill on the top side of the map and was then useless for the rest of the game.
Yeah, he was Garen.
Yeah. But he got a double kill.
Afreeca Freecs could also go Garen, but they're too boring to do that. Sorry, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, but Pyke's pretty fun. So that's cool. Not going to have the Alistair available. Tucson going to lock away the Pyke instead.
Don't worry, there's reload for Garen later. Don't you dare ban Garen if you're Afreeca Freecs.
Afreeca, if you ban Garen, I'm going to be so triggered.
I'm going to drop my headset if they ban Garen.
Yeah. I don't think there's a point of being here if they ban Garen. We always need the chance of a Garen last week.
I know! Schrodinger's Garen!
Exactly. They're very snowed down.
Don't you dare. Oh, thought they would do it. The ultimate disrespect ban. They will not ban it away. MVP, still not really any closer to knowing if this is going to be actually super ultra standard. Wouldn't it be the longest con to get their comfort picks by playing shenanigans for 2 games?
I know. It'd be absolutely brilliant. As they have got a pretty amazing draft so far. If we're considering standard, Ezreal Shen isn't exactly the most powerful lane, but now they can focus on the jungle, ban that one out. The Trundle to be taken away from Spirit. Spirit going to have his gigantic champion pool to work with, but Trundle has been one of his most effective. Sejuani up there, Kindred is available as well.
These are the picks he's going to consider. Tom Kench actually banned away. Not really sure why. They have Shen, and Shen is mostly a support champion. Maybe they feel like Max could play it in the top lane in a more standard way.
Yep. Or play Tahm Kench on the top side of the map as well. Tahm Kench was a top laner once upon a time.
The phase rush Tahm Kench shenanigans are pretty funny.
Yep.
The self-slow on the W gets removed, and you can put people into the turret. It's really funny. But the Varus is going to be banned here, so a bit of power taken away from the Afreeca Freecs.
Wanting to have the best lane possible as aiming, just going through a whole bunch of different options. There is another marksman with some arrows available, but they probably want to get a jungle here.
Waiting to see what the decision is. Bot laner seems to be what they're suggesting, but a jungler is also needed. The Nocturne would be a way to engage. Spirit desperate for a win on this Gragas. It hasn't worked out for them so far. We'll return to it. 0-2 on the Gragas this season is Spirit, if he's going to be the one playing it. MVP. How much shenanigans are involved here? It seems like Ian is reasoning with his coach.
Yeah, Ian was still hovering the smite.
And Max also reasoning with the coach there as far as we could tell, saying, come on, Garen.
They're trying to figure out what kind of cheese they can get away with right now, as the Zoe did slip through, and that's going to be picked up here for Ian. So it's looking extremely standard. Right now, Ian and Pilot switch, and Max goes the Shen on the bottom side. Now we're looking for a top laner. It's 15 seconds to go, and what is Max going to play?
Now, one way to bust the GP in standard lanes.
Oh, here we go.
Yep.
The mad scientist playing the mad scientist.
Yep.
That's what we want.
Could have gone Lucian into the GP. They decide they don't want that. They're going to be running the Singed, and who knows how many smites they'll be comboing it with.
Yep, this is what we want. This is exactly what I wanted in this particular game. They got 3 smites so far. MVP don't look to be moving away from that. As I don't know how Singed goes with the Runic Echoes. Seems like it'd kill minions pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right, Tucson, there's the last pick on the Yasuo. Certainly a phenomenal Yasuo comp coming out of the Afreeca Freecs. MVP, they're going to try and avoid team fighting completely, as Max is just going to be annoying as heck. But Afreeca Freecs have a composition that, if allowed to get into the late game, will just straight up destroy MVP in about every single way ever, apart from range.
But at least MVP have a lot of ways to snowball the game. The Zoe Ezreal, a good duo when it comes to Siege. The Talia jungle is unassailable for most junglers, and honestly, most laners when it comes to the amount of burst damage that come through. ADD, a fantastic Singe. We'll see how Max is going to be able to do applying pressure. And you throw in a Shen ultimate, and who knows if MVP are able to get a big enough gold lead, the teamfight bonanza that's been drafted by Afreeca Freecs may never get online.
And it is once again going to be 3 smites. This time, Max is going to give up his, and Motive is going to be... You can hear the die-hard fans in the audience tonight still able to raise their voices. Kuro fan now seeing in the audience.
Shout out to anyone who's been there since the start of the stream. I imagine it won't be too many people, as Max is really behind enemy lines.
And he's going to spot 5 members.
He's going to get a lot of movement speed, though. Look how fast he is!
He's so fast, but he's still so dead. First blood onto Max, but I tell you what, that is how you play Singe.
That man did some power drifting straight into the grave.
Power drifting and power inting. Coming in from Max, already dead, sub 1 minute.
All right, we got some tough business to talk about.
All right.
MVP dropped a lot of smites since the last time you saw.
Did they, though? Because that's an unsealed spellbook.
Exactly. They have access to a second one, but they don't have motive with smite.
Ah, that's true.
They don't have a double funnel going on. In fact, there's only 1 talisman on the team. So whatever you were expecting has been subverted. Because Max did do the power inting you alluded to, it does mean that Keen was able to aggro the minions they came to lane and get a freeze towards the GP as well. Probably going to be a short-term thing, but if you can get the minions to aggro you, they're likely to group onto the first minion they hit, and thus it will push towards you as you power through the enemy's midline. So the enemy minions power through your minion wave faster that way.
Keen going to do what he can to try and stave off the insufferable Singe on the top side of the map. Like you say, going to be a little bit easier given the fact that Max did die early on. Thankfully, it was early enough for him to just wander to lane, though. Didn't have to invest a teleport or anything like that. And vertical jungling is going to ensue, as Spirit is going to walk immediately over to this red buff that is likely
It's hard to call it
just
vertical
to die.
jungling when it was red into red.
That's true. I mean, it's very vertical if you look at the map.
It's true.
It's about as in fact, this should be the vertical jungling that we're talking about.
I'm really concerned that Max doesn't know how to play Singed.
I'm really concerned about the fact that Yondu wasted all of his time walking over to this red buff.
And then Max, of course, doesn't have access to something like the minion dematerializer this early, and doesn't have the rune as well, but even if he did, wouldn't be able to use it, so I guess Max softened up the minions to be under the enemy turret. The freeze has worked.
Meanwhile, Aiming has to flash to get out of the way. Pilot almost got the auto attack, but the turret shot is going to mean that the Ezreal has to back away, and wham! Wow, that was very close on the bottom side.
So to recap, we've had the five-man drift happening at level 1 with the Singed into death. We've had diagonal jungling from red buff to red buff. We've had Max try to proxy, realize that perhaps he proxied too early and he doesn't have flash if he makes a mistake, and he doesn't have a way to kill the big minion, and thus just extend the freeze, and now Spirit's here to kill Max again.
Well, Max is going to walk pretty quickly away, so Spirit is going to be deterred from that one. Did manage to get his red buff, but I believe that the Talia in Yondu was able to grab his blue as well, so everyone able to grab exactly what they wanted. Single Rift Scuttler on each side, single buff for each. Pretty even, and the Talia not able to glean an advantage. See, on the bottom side, it's MVP with big advantage. Pilot having the range over Aiming's Swain. We'll see whether Tusin's going to be able to lock them down once he gets some extra skills under his belt.
And to your point, it is the first game we will see Max lane against King. He went for the Singed. Singed can potentially have a good time against GP if he gets ganks, or if he is able to start proxying a little bit later, level 2, level 3, a little bit too early most of the time, but I imagine this is more about I'm comfortable on Singed in the top lane rather than this is the best matchup ever as top lane, as in mid lane.
Yep, Yondu, seismic shove, and that is a very dead Kuro. Oh, no. Second kill to come in. King gets a solo on the top side of the map. As yeah, this is what happens, you know, when you play in those games and your friend's like, I don't want to play top, but then he has to, and then he dies, and he's like, see, I didn't want to play top.
And usually they say something like, I can Singed, and then you find out afterwards it means that they have the champion unlocked and thus can pick it.
No, they got beaten by it in the game prior. That's what
I mean, one or the other, but I think either way, it's unfortunate stuff going on in the top. We're flashing, boys.
Yeah, seismic shove to come in.
Hey!
Yondu work all over the map. As evening out, it's only Max that's died, remember. This guy can power it all he wants. If he keeps feeding like this and not getting farm, he'll be worth less money than a cannon creep, and he can just buy time for MVP.
Well, the kill comes in. That means we now have kills on both bot laners of MVP. We know the death timers on patch 8.13 are criminally short, and that means that Aiming is way back in and doesn't really miss any minions doing so, and has a catalyst. So, you know, got a fast trip to buy his catalyst, not so bad.
Yep, feeling way better now. As he checks that brush with his vision of Empire. Motive going to be spotted out. There's a big minion wave now for MVP to deal with.
I don't really want to watch top anymore. I'm very uncomfortable about what's happening there.
Yeah, so
this is the first time it actually feels like Korean representative top laner in great form versus autofilled top laner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is exactly what it is. So you can't really sugarcoat it. This is MVP in a dire situation. They were able to cheese themselves a win, which is exactly what you want to do. Keen still with that ward on the top side means that the parlay is going to register onto this one, the Singed. And he's got a double dank seal build, but Max is still just trying to get the hell out of this lane.
So they're going to be spotted. Nice ability for Aiming to check, as Spirit will just walk through mid lane and see what's going on with Ian. Turns out skipping is going on.
Yep. Yondu, he's going to be here though. His seismic shove he utilized as in vision. The Sleepy Trouble bubble flies through, so of course the boot back is going to be there with the body slam.
And understandably, Max had enough. No more of this damn crummy top lane. Let's do other stuff on the map. He's roaming.
He's got a ghost, and he could just run at Aiming right here. He doesn't have flash, and
when do we start running?
They've got vision, and Yondu going to throw down his control ward. They're going to spot that one out. Ghost is now utilized.
Yeah, gets him to lane faster.
He's going to boost it. Boost it all the way to lane. There we are. At least he's a surfer Singed, so obviously he doesn't want to be playing this video game. He wants to be surfing.
I wouldn't call him a booster, judging by this game so far.
Yeah, I think that it's a different suffix that we're talking about there. Let's not go into it. Max is going to pick up a minion wave, maybe, or just I again. Not sure. Misses a cannon creep, though, so I'm tilted. Spirit going to help Yondu pick up the Rift Scuttler, as he definitely has a lot more damage potential. And Ian now having to deal with Spirit, but there's a pesky control ward. And Spirit yet again not going to find any joy.
Lost in the translation of the MVP draft. Worth noting, it is the Gragas and Yasuo duo for the very easy access to the ultimate, Body Slam Flash, and also the cast going to do the dirty work.
How are you there, Pilot?
Really? That's your question about this series?
I was just confused. He was like basically dry humping that turret. And I don't understand how.
I can't believe you actually said that on this podcast. I've said that before. That's the lewdest thing you've said today.
No, it isn't.
9 hours in. You get 1, Atlas.
All right, okay. Is that really going to be the lewdest thing that I say
Yes.
today? All right, well, Max tries to clear out minions, but doesn't really get many. It's 70 to 25. It's a bad time. Triple the farm is what Keen's hoping to lock down within the next 5 CS, as this is one of the worst feelings ever when you're in a matchup that's going to outscale you.
Let's play a game.
Okay.
At what time will he be Flame Horizons? It's not a fun game, but it is a game.
All right. 14 minutes.
All right. I'm gonna go with 13:20. So I'm kind of going a bit Price is Right against you.
Yeah, you really are.
I'm sorry about that.
That's not very fair.
Hey,
you're undershotting.
I didn't say it was a fun game. I want to win the game.
You're undershotting me as well.
Well, in the mid lane, remember Yondu's done some good stuff already.
Yeah, Kuro's going to get ignited and killed. And still a fantastic Zoe, of course. You got Max on the wrong champion, but elsewhere, you've got basically comfort for everybody else on MVP. And you've got a ridiculously busted jungler in the form of Talia.
Especially with Yondu so proactive. Credit to him. He's been everywhere he needed to be. He knows it needs to be in every lane except top. That one's definitely done.
Yep.
Free advice for any solo queue junglers, especially in lower ELOs. Don't go and try and help the lane that's 0-2-0 down 50 CS at 9 minutes. Don't do it. Stay away from it. Go help out the lanes that are doing better.
Especially not when that particular top laner has a sub 10-minute Trinity Force, because he's got Kleptomancy. That's filthy. At least he's got his Mega Adhesive, and Max is able to run away from the gangplank. That's good news.
How many parlays
got 10.
kills Singed from full health?
I'm
going to say...
Does he have Sheen proc with each one?
Yeah.
Then
5?
3.
You reckon?
4?
3? 4. Or 5?
That's about 4.
5.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, you're right.
The questions you have to ask, because otherwise it would be fairly painful.
There's a punishment. Oh, God. So many knockbacks, knock-ups, and destruction. And that is a very dead Zoe. As soon as the portal jump came in, that was a death warrant.
Death warrant is going to be recalled for aiming in the bot side, revealed because the Vision of Empire spots out that Yondu is there. Max is killing the Scuttle Crab because that's a much more fun thing for him to do. Keen takes down the turret, continues to flex onto his opponent here. Maybe this is why we saw so many Smite shenanigans, because unfortunately, it seems that Keen is quite better than Max in the top. You know, I think he's betterer in basically every way.
I think he's betterer than Max.
Remember, he could have played Lucian, and he might not have won the lane, but he probably wouldn't have been punished this hard.
Remember, he was considered the best top laner in Korea.
No, I'm talking about Max.
Oh, right.
He decided to go Singed.
He did. He did decide that. But, I mean, was there a good choice into Keen?
Lucian.
But can Max play Lucian?
I mean, he wouldn't have died this many times, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Does have at least a range advantage.
Just pick a ranged auto attacker that can trade pretty well, or just don't take trades. Buy a Vamp Scepter, Cull, get some sick lifesteal going. I don't know.
Yeah.
Instead, it's Singed too. Like, as everyone who plays Singed knows, champion balance may have been a bit off patches past, but really do need to know how to play Singed, and we know Keen can play with and against Singed.
Well, we know that Yondu can play the Talia, gets the smite onto the blue buff, steals it away from Spirit. He managed to steal the top lane one because, of course, Afreeca Freecs have hella control over the top side of the map. We added up to 2,000 gold here, but I guarantee that that is all on the gangplank.
He is
12.5 minutes in the game.
He's really strong. Seems like our prediction. Seems like you're going to win by Price is Right roll.
Yes!
Good thing we didn't bet wings on it this time.
Yeah, I know. That would have made you sad.
Ian is the good news story for the side of MVP. We mentioned in the pick ban that it needs to be a snowball game from the side of MVP, and while the snowball isn't happening top side, it's not as worrying because mid lane and the jungle have gone pretty well.
Bottom lane also gone pretty well for MVP as Pilot. He's got his Manamune as well as a Sheen. It's exactly what you want as an Ezreal. Motive does get the flash taunt, and that's True Shot Barrage landing, aiming. Gonna dodge out of the way of the seismic shove, but I have a feeling he's still dead. Yondu grabs that kill. Plenty of damage coming in as Cannon Barrage does approximately 1 billion damage. X marks the spot, and that is one real dead Ezreal. It's a 1-for-1 trade, both carries of the bottom side of the map, but can they get any more? Flash Bone Skewer is beautiful out of Tucson, gets out of the way of the threaded volley, and that's death from below yet again. The reset coming in right at the end for the Pike, and he'll donate away all the money as the Gragas gets a double again.
And look what it does to the gold lead. Gold lead gets really big already. Up to 4,000 gold, 3,500. Max coming back 2 levels down. Ian's gonna come help us. I don't know what that sound was.
That was really scary.
That sounded like the sound when the movie goes like that really bad flashback of like, I guess a guy in a sheep mask or something.
No, it's like the sound of then you're like in the shower and you see the silhouette of the knife, you know? Like, that's what that sound was.
Oh, you saw a knife? I saw a sign that said 9 games tonight.
Oh, at the moment it kind of looks like Gangplank's gun. Because it's about that scary, especially if you're an MVP fan. He's still got brown bags, but a Hex Drinker's there now because he's building for lane, guys. Hasn't quite made it, like you were talking about, to the Flame Horizon, and it's gone past my prediction. So technically both of us are wrong. So I'm happy to go with the bet was mute. Keen wasn't able to move it forward fast enough. Took the turret too early, I think, is probably what it is.
Maybe Tucson ulted again?
Oh, maybe.
Maybe that's what it was?
Is that a global?
I didn't think so, but we've had some weird quirks where voice lines have been too loud and kind of all over the place.
It was like when Zoe entered the screen. But,
it just had to be in the 9th game, right? Where everything's a little bit askew.
Well, especially power points on the map. Top side of the map, very strong. For Afreeca, and at least somewhat strong for MVP on the bottom side. So there's that. Afreeca Freecs will be able to grab this Rift Herald though, and that should really poke open a hole in this game. As Spirit goes back, does actually pick up the Eye of the Void, which is what you need in order to get Shelly to come out. Pilot very comfortable here this game, landing Q after Q onto aiming.
He outranges very severely. Shen does most of the heavy lifting. Yondu's trying to help him out, but I believe was spotted on a lane ward before he actually got into the brush.
See whether they can do it again. Remember, the Cannon Barrage is available, and True Shot Barrage now not, in order to get added damage.
I'm sure Lehens is watching this and he's very jealous that Max got to go from support to Singed before he did in competitive.
There it is. He's going to get stunned. His Cannon Barrage now right on top of Pilot. Seismic Shove is good onto aiming, who doesn't have the stopwatch, but Yondu now right in the middle of everyone, does manage to trade 1-for-1, but X didn't actually mark the spot there, and it's now on cooldown for Tucson. Good news for MVP for that, but 1-for-1 is not the trade that you want when it's the Swain that's not doing so well, and the Talia that's doing fantastically well for MVP.
Almost no damage for Yasuo or Singe dealt this game. We understood that about the top lane, but Kuro been ganked a couple of times, and while he's got some assists and some farm, nothing really else to speak about.
And it's a now 5-0-0 Spirit on the Gragas. Had a much better game. It's about as night and day as you can possibly get between game 1 and 3.
This is a bit of a Trundle situation, though, because you don't want the kills on the Gragas, and it's not AP Gragas from Spirit this time, like he did a few matches ago. 2 games of tank Gragas.
Yeah. Oh, here's the gank onto Keen. Can they kill the raid boss, is the question. Taunt comes down. Looks like the answer is going to be a hell yeah, as Ian grabs the kill. MVP, there is life in them yet. Or is it going to end right now? The flash was picked up, but not used in time as Tucson grabs the follow-up kill. We're going 1-for-1 everywhere, Papa, but Afreeca are trading up. They're going to be able to use the Rift Herald mid.
Understandably thought he had map control on his own side of the jungle. He did not, so what's taken down there was Ian with a flank teleport. Big him being taken down, the Rift Herald is used, 2-0 lead. The side of Afreeca Freecs. Competitive to some degree this series, definitely not going to hand it over to Afreeca Freecs just yet in game number 3, but the Pirate will still respawn and come through with plenty of items, and now it's a fight for the red buff here.
And you almost have to guarantee that MVP need to get rid of Gangplank when he's by himself before every fight ever breaks out if they ever want to be in with any sort of a chance. And that's what they were able to do last time around. Still went 1-for-1 for it, which is a little bit unfortunate given the fact that they weren't in position, but that's what the reality is for this game because Kane is a one-man wrecking crew.
And I definitely have more caveats than you, Atlas, because...
I had a lot, man.
Sure, I mean, that's just saying remove Keen, but it's also, you know, as you and I talked about, a very oppressive 5v5 comp from Afreeca as the game goes on, so you didn't really want to be fighting anyway. In a true 5v5 sense, you want to kill someone with poke, kill someone with the Zoe, and then try to take objectives around how strong the enemy 5v5 is. So, to me, there's multiple caveats here. They want to open up the map rather than to opt into any 5v5s, but Yondu spent the most of the last 10 minutes bot side after so many good ganks earlier, and the game pace is slowed down in the map perspective for MVP.
As you can see, Tucson now 1-0-3. It's built towards pretty decent items so far, but still very squishy. Vision of Empire not going to find the target of Pilot. Cannon Barrage, not the best position, but they will be able to take down Motive. X marks the spot. They grab the Shen. Can they get more is the question as Max. He's teleported in, he wants it, but Tucson's already done all the work. It's a triple kill. Theoretically, a little bit late on the X marks the spot there, and now Max wishes he hadn't have made this choice, and so does Ian. It's real easy, and it's the Gangplank picking up the last one, which is real bad news. Aiming, still wanting more onto the Zoe, as MVP looks like they've signed out of game number 3. They've tried a lot of tricks, but we're looming towards an 8,000 gold lead as we crest 20 minutes.
Afreeca Freecs just have the fundamentals to fall back upon. Much less shenanigans enacted by MVP this game. They would have been happy some of the big picks they picked up. But then you just see the Wombo onto Motive, dies in the air, basically 2 kills from the death from below. The X marks the spot twice. Can't get the 3rd kill from this one. Unfortunate for him. That one will go wide. They clean up the kills. Nothing Max can do on the teleport. Singe teleporting into a fight like that already is a bit of a death warrant sent out for MVP. And now the gold lead is up to 8,000.
Yep. Just popped over that while we were checking out the replay. And MVP now just trying to hold on to what is left of their base. Losing all of the outer turrets, as you can see. But top lane inner is very close to falling. Everything else pretty comfortable, but last teamfight damage huge from Spirit. Runic Echoes being his only damage item means that he managed to hit a lot of auto attacks within that fight.
And let's say this about MVP. Again, 3 days after finding out the tough news about ADD and his pneumothorax, his inability to play because of that collapsed lung. I cast 2 days ago the MVP vs Kingzone series, and that was a really tough series to cast because clearly the players were affected by how recently it happened. They did their best. Maha was playing top lane, tried to play standard, drafted Karma Blind, and the Jace came out. And they lost very one-sided game, but it's so hard to even laugh and have fun in a game like that where, you know, outside of the Rift stuff is really affecting what you're seeing. In this game, they've made it a super competitive series. Pilot's gonna die.
Yep.
But they won a game. You know, they won a single game in game number 1, which helps with their battle towards relegation, which now seems very likely. At least they're going to be in an extended battle down the bottom of the table. They won a game against the Afreeca Freecs with their innovation, and they've managed to make it a very fun series in spite of there being pretty severe reasons that we're seeing Max on Singe top against Keen, our national Korean top laner on the GP.
Yeah, and Keen's Gangplank is fantastic no matter what it's laning into, even if it's a counter matchup. So you have to say that Max, he did his darndest, but he's a support player, and it's really difficult. Couldn't imagine that many of us would have a good time laning into Keen.
I'm just happy we've been able to have a competitive, fun series. Afreeca have been forced to go away from, you know, keeping the gear jammed in game number 1, trying to do it on autopilot and not being able to win, into actually being forced to scrap very hard. Against MVP, game 2 was one-sided. Game 3, there was at least some parity outside of the GP running away with top lane. Very likely MVP will lose from here, but even making it a series against Afreeca Freecs is full credit to MVP for coming up with a lot of stuff that made us look at the game a little bit different than we did before the series started.
And even game number 2, I mean, that was competitive up until quite late in that series as well. I mean, this is the only the first time that we've seen the fact that Max isn't a top laner brought into harsh
They hit
light.
it for 2 games, really.
And, okay, Ian, going to be able to get the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, but Paddle Star not off cooldown just yet, so Tucson is going to survive for the moment. Motive turns up just to give the farm over to Ian, utilizing his Targon's Brace, now Revenant of the Equinox.
Man, there's a lot of items on the Pirate.
Yeah, dude, he's pretty strong. It's a lot of pretty expensive items too. Like,
yeah.
You can talk about 3 items, and then there's these 3 items. And yeah, I'd be worried about anyone who's going to find the Pirate. Susan walks up, gets a ward into this brush. Immediately taken down, and MVP not going to utilize the camp. I like what MVP's comp can do. You know, if they weren't in this position, which is a really difficult one, their composition is really, really fun when it comes to... Oh, no. He really wanted to get his red buff, but...
Yeah, failed the donation there, trying to make the cross-map play happen.
Yeah. But Blade of the Ruin King on the way for Pilot. Ezreal Zoe has always been fun. We saw the weaknesses of it come out. I believe that was KT versus someone where... I think it was KT versus Afreeca last time they faced off, where it was priced into Ezreal Zoe whenever you were on the blue side. Didn't actually find the wins. However, it earlier on in the season did look really good. And I like what it can do in the chaos that MVP are pretty good at bringing. Not to be the case this time around. Currently, if we have a look at the gold, it's cresting that 10,000 mark. And it's looking very difficult for MVP to find a win. However, if anyone can engineer a way out of a situation like this, it's either Indiana Jones or MVP.
Bit of free damage onto aiming, map control severely.
Yeah, Seismic Shove is going to mean he's just dead. Cannon Barrage invested as well for absolutely nothing. They're going to grab a turret off this. MVP, you can't just turn on autopilot, Afreeca. This is a team that needs respect, and Baron is up.
It's true.
You just lost your 80 awesome dude carry.
Man, 1 barrel is going to do so much damage, but MVP, they're going to go out like they started. It's all about Baron.
Exactly right. Weaver's Wall to fly through as well. No one's entering from the top side for the next 5 seconds, but I guess they don't even need to. There's the pullback onto Max, but that's a target that doesn't really care. There's the knock-up. Huge damage to come down from Kuro as X is marking all of the spots. And you said MVP are going to die like they lived, and it is taking Baron. They'll continue to do so. Baron is taken as well. It's an ace. And that is game over for MVP, but I'm so glad they went down with a fight.
You can say what you want about MVP, but both in the fun way and in the serious way, you should respect what they were able to do in this particular series. They made it competitive in ways we couldn't even imagine, ways that beggared belief. But now the Baron is there, now the game is over, and Afreeca Freecs should win on this push.
There's something to be said for the cool runnings theory, where it's not necessarily about whether you win or lose, it's about whether your opponents are going to respect you, and good lord, did Afreeca have to respect MVP and what they had available to them, despite the fact that